None of us are born Michelangelos or Leonardo da Vinci's. It's the improvement that makes us one of them. So this is one of my old sketchbooks with my old drawings from 2021, and this is how I currently draw right now. As you can see, the difference is huge as I have improved a lot from them, especially from the ones I made in kindergarten and I showed in a video recently. So it's all about the process and the improvement we make that makes us better artists and creatives. And this is one of my recent spreads where you can see how drastic the improvement is from all those years ago, and you can make this improvement too in 1 year or 2 years, and this can be your goal if you apply all these 5 things that I'm gonna say. So let's get into it. So the first one, and especially it needs to be the first because we were talking about improvement and change, we're trying to change things up and we might be uncomfortable with it. So saying that, the first step is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So what I mean by that is to try out different subjects and draw complex and subjects that might be hard for you to do. So for me, I'm used to drawing characters and like humans, so bikes and like sceneries and streets and that kind of stuff is not really my forte. So I tried drawing a bike recently. It was so intimidating. You can see how scary that bike looks and its shape and everything, but I try to break it down into shapes. So always try to break things down into shapes. That's the first thing when you're trying out different things. Break things down into simple shapes and draw a light sketch and build over it. So by trying out new subjects, you are building your visual library and kind of increasing your ability to draw different things and also expanding your ability to draw anything that you want. Okay, so I drew this bike and the scenery from a trip that me and my friends went out on recently. So even though I've never drawn anything like this before, I just tried it out. I drew from life. I tried drawing a cat. The cat didn't pose well, so I left it there. But anyway, the next tip that I used a lot and also has worked wonders for me is what I call fake it till you make it. Yep, you heard me right. And what I mean by that is to like fake having good colors or good compositions in your drawings naturally until you get it naturally. So what I mean by that is to plan out your colors. So for my fashion portfolio that I did recently, I have fashion as my minor in school, so we had to make a portfolio and I was planning out colors and everything. We had to. So this is what you could do for your drawings also. So if you are scared of coloring because you don't know how to choose colors, learn about colors and choose them, like intentionally sit down and plan them, whether it be your colors or composition or something else. Just practice it and plan it and execute it accordingly until you get used to it, you get the hang of it, and then you reach a point where you naturally do those things where you don't exactly have to plan it, because through the planning you know what works with what and the theory and everything behind it. So just kind of fake it till you make it. Also, let me know in the comments below if you want to see a tour of this fashion portfolio. Anyway, on to the third tip. So basically, we all reach a point in our art, whether we started drawing today or like a few years ago, where everything looks fine, everything looks decent, everything, makes you happy. Maybe not all drawings, but everything looks nice to you, and everything is aesthetically pleasing enough to satisfy you. But you could be stuck at that level or get worse if you don't try to learn more or even be conscious about your development so far. So when you reach that point, it is up to you to decide whether it's good or bad for you to stay at that stage. So with that, the third tip is actually, if you want to keep improving, don't stop learning and don't stop trying out new things. Don't stop in your comfort zone, basically. Always try new things and try to improve with the mindset to improve, because you could easily just stay where you are and just keep drawing the things you draw, keep drawing the same expressions, same poses, same characters, same subjects, same backgrounds, same everything and even maybe get the same face syndrome. However, not everyone is like this. For some, they're happy at their level as they do it for fun, to pass time, etc. And that's completely fine. It's a completely personal choice. But if you clicked on this video, it means you have the intention to improve or maintain your level and get even better. And if you have that feeling, I suggest you implement this tip. That is to keep going, not stop learning, and keep drawing and keep experimenting and learn from your mistakes, really. And just imagine if 2-3 years ago I was like, oh, I kind of like this style, or I like this pose, or I like this face, or the way I draw characters. I think I might just stop here. If I stopped there, I would have never done this or any of these. So the next time you're trying to draw something new, make sure you try something different, do something different so that you can learn something else. Now, the fourth tip is to come back to your basics every now and then. So whether it be the RYB color wheel or CMY color wheel, you could just kind of try to make it again or make a painting using those, and just kind of, revise and refresh everything you know about the basics, like different skin tones, and try to mix things up, and then like how to draw a head even though you already drew characters a lot. It's also, especially if you're like intermediate or even just know how to do stuff, not only just refreshes like your memory or your knowledge of the basics, but also it kind of helps you to relax in some way if you're already like an intermediate or a pro, or you know how to draw those things. And yeah, just refreshing your memory and like testing your knowledge of the basics, or just kind of taking a reference and just drawing is also another very good way to relax, and also just kind of solidify your understanding of the subjects that you often draw. So here I was just kind of drawing a pair of eyes that I haven't done in a really long time. I remember like doing this in the very beginning, like in like I guess maybe 3 years ago or so. I tried to draw eyes, and like I kind of drew it decently, but yeah, I never tried to do that again. And it's one of the most satisfying, rewarding things ever to draw like just a pair of eyes. So I just took one of the references that I used when I first started out, and I just started to draw it again, and I was using like blending stumps and everything, and this is how the final look looks like. I'm just gonna add some highlights too, just to make things pop, and yeah, this is how it looks like. So I'm so glad that I just decided to draw this, because I realized that I don't really draw eyes like that big, whether it be my characters or somewhere else. So just drawing it kind of made me understand my why and how I draw eyes, and how I can maybe change it up in the future. Okay, so definitely revisit your basics. Now, the fifth tip is to experiment and just apply everything that I just told in this video. Just go out there and do it, draw your favorite things, but try to add something new in there. So here I'm just drawing a character, and I'm just kind of trying like a different coloring technique. And surprisingly, I've never tried the ponytail hairstyle, so I'm just doing that also. And I'm just kind of experimenting with a bit with my coloring and other sorts of things. So if you see in my other videos, I use all sorts of mediums. I am always, I guess, in some sort of way experimenting. I sometimes use alcohols with watercolors, or I use acrylics on top of watercolors. I just do a lot of experimenting, especially when I started out, and I think that really played a huge role in my growth. So I made this illustration kind of just experimenting a bit with the coloring style of the hair, and even the skin. Actually, I tried adding like kind of like a green to the face. In the beginning it didn't turn out right, but it kind of looks a bit more realistic now in some sort of way. And this is a close-up of another one of those drawings where I was completely out of my comfort zone. I was like totally experimenting with a concept and actually trying to bring a concept to life, experimenting with lighting and fire and those sort of things. This is one of like my most expressive drawings ever, and the concept behind this is on the screen. You can pause and read it. It's kind of also inspired by a Taylor Swift lyric where it's called, it says, "They're burning all the witches even if you aren't one." So yeah, this is a painting based off that, and I was totally experimenting. I did not even know I could like do this. I completely doubted myself, but again, you don't know what you can do unless, well, you do it. So by the way, my name is R.B.J, and if you have been enjoying so far and you're interested in videos like these or other art videos or my creative process in general, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because I post whenever I'm free, whenever I can, as I'm still in school, a science student, and also trying to do something with my creativity, like try to turn it into a career and trying to get into a college and all of that. So I'm kind of juggling a lot of things, but I love making these videos where I just share my process or share my tips that I either learned or discovered or just kind of learned from somebody else. And yeah, this is another one of those drawings where I was again experimenting totally out of my comfort zone. I drew animals. I don't draw animals. That was the first time I drew a dog, and it kind of turned out nice. But just remember, I've been doing this for like kind of 3-4 years now, and you could probably do this too with more practice. So yeah, just keep all of that in mind and go ahead and do it. And if you want to watch other drawing videos while trying to draw and improve, they are right here, and make sure you're creating.